Welcome everyone to Unscripted Coding. Today we're going to be talking about Amazon CodeWhisperer. This is another ML-powered coding companion, which means it's a plugin for various tools like Visual Studio Code, where it auto-completes code once you give a function name, some descriptions, maybe start writing part of it. Now, the most obvious popular one right now is GitHub Copilot, which I've been using quite a bit for probably half a year now. And Copilot has just been absolutely amazing at automatically completing and doing very rote type of programming. And so I'm used to Python with a lot of very sensible choices, in my opinion. And when I move over to another language, say JavaScript, quite frequently, it's really cumbersome to, say, loop through dictionary keys and values, to loop through an array. And so GitHub Copilot, as soon as you give it the prompt, will at least give you something to work with. That is to say, they'll give you the bones. They might have a couple errors, but generally it's really good. Now, the real problem here is GitHub Copilot swapped to a paid subscription, $10 a month or $100 US dollars a year. Now, not the most expensive thing in the world, and if you are a full-time programmer, I can see very easily recouping that value. But, of course, when Amazon comes out with their own, and it's currently in testing right now, free preview, free looks very enticing. So in this video, I'm just going to set it up very quickly for VS Code. When you sign up for a preview, you might have to wait a little bit, but they will send you a code and some instructions, which is a link to this toolkit. I'm going to start right here. And actually, I'm going to start from here. Amazon CodeWhisperer from the AWS toolkit. So let me pull up VS Code. You can see that I have GitHub Copilot disabled now. And I think we can look for AWS toolkit right here. We're going to install it. And we're going to need to connect. So I do not want them to collect anonymous usage. We have a quick start. That's useful. But over here, we are going to try and answer some basic questions. I might have to move this off screen to put in some credentials. But I am in US West. Let's go with Oregon's probably the closest to me. Okay, so move into Developer Tools, CodeWhisperer. Preview access code. Okay, so if you don't have one, you can request one, but of course, and start this video without getting a key. So I'm going to move this. So I'm going to move this off screen for a second to enter the preview code, and I'm pressing enter, and that's all that I've done. You can see the preview terms. You should probably take a look at them. It is beta. And I assume everything is going to be provided as is. They are going to store content, so our content is going to be potentially used for feedback, other metrics, blah, blah, blah. If you are using this in an enterprise type of scenario, you probably want to have your legal team look through this first. But let's take a look. So right now, only 3 languages. I think I think Copilot does like a dozen different languages. So Java, Python, JavaScript. I know that GitHub does more than that, but luckily the two that I care about most often, Python and JavaScript, are right here. Tab and left arrow. Okay, so you should automatically see inline code suggestions. Use the tab key. Let's open a new file. We are going to go Python right here. Function add two numbers, x and y. Oh, what am I doing? Python def. Let's see if we see suggestions. Not yet. Alt-C, okay. So I don't see automatically, but if I go Alt-C, it'll generate really quickly. Return x plus y. And if you just tab, you're going to accept it. So let's try something a little bit more difficult here. Create, show the next 5 numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, which I think I might have spelled wrong. And it does automatically show. So for I in range, I don't think this is actually correct though. Y plus 5. Yeah, this is pretty horrible. This is not remotely close. So let's go Alt-C, and then if you use left and right, you should see more options if there were more. But this is the only 5. So in fib sequence, seeing a bit of delay here. That's not ideal. If we try this, is not remotely correct. That's not bad. Oops. This assumes that you are currently starting right off the bat for the 5 numbers. So I can tell you right now already that Copilot would have done a much better job in this. But it is trying to make a guess. So let's try another one. Next up, let's do a very simple fizz buzz solution. Yeah, fizz buzz. I wonder if it'll, yep, it does complete inline as well. So if you have half a line, if you have part of a line, it'll complete it. And then if we go tab, that seems like a good solution, actually. Let's try this again, Alt-C. It is giving the same one quite consistently, but 2 different responses. Now, Copilot, you used to be able to pull up, and this is not helpful. Under Copilot, you used to be able to pull up a side panel that lists 5, 10 different options. Once in a while, it's limited to just 1 or 2, but Copilot gives you quite a few options. Right off the bat, I can tell you from this experience so far that CodeWhisperer seems to be a little slower. I like the controls. They seem to make a lot of good sense. But but they are a little bit different as well. You can't pull up a side panel, and I suspect it's because AWS doesn't even have that many options for you. For something like FizzBuzz, Copilot would have had 20 different options for you. But I could only cycle through 2 here in CodeWhisperer. So it already feels quite a bit more limited. Now, to be perfectly fair, this is a preview. This isn't a paid product like Copilot is ready to be able to do. So in due time, it might get a lot better. But at the moment, I don't even need to test that much more to say it's going to be helpful. Don't get me wrong. I think these are pretty awesome, especially if you set up a loop through dictionary. In this kind of scenario, they can set you up right off the bat. These kind of things I used to search up on Stack Overflow or Google all the time because I just can't seem to remember what the best way to do it is. But in this case, you just throw it into CodeWhisperer and it can put that out for you. So really useful for that. But I think Copilot is clearly the superior product. And I'll revisit this in a little while to see if there's if there's a narrowing of the gap. But at the moment, I'm going to keep using this because my main usage isn't to write whole functions, but usually to get things like this. How do I loop through a dictionary in whatever weird language it is? Or how do I append? Is it push? Is it append? Is it some other keyword that just isn't coming to me? Alt-C is so much easier than Googling and Stack Overflowing it. That's about it. I thought I would have to do a bit more work to try and tell you guys whether CodeWhisperer is up to a challenge, but it's a little disappointing, to be perfectly honest. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, do leave a comment below or subscribe, and I will see you next week.